As you get older, have you noticed certain people drain your energy, bring constant stress, or make you feel small? What if I told you that cutting off these toxic people, even if they're family, could be the best decision for your peace and happiness? Here's the hard truth. In old age, your time and energy are more precious than ever. Every moment should be spent in peace, not in constant frustration. Many wise elderly people have learned this lesson the hard way, some only realizing it after decades of emotional exhaustion. The reality is, not everyone deserves a place in your life, no matter how long they've been in it. If someone consistently hurts you, disrespects you, or takes advantage of you, it's time to let them go. So today, let's go through 6 types of toxic people you must distance yourself from, even if they are family. Because at this stage in life, your happiness comes first. Let's begin. Toxic person number 1, the constant critic. No matter what you do, it's never enough for the constant critic. They always have something negative to say. Your choices, your lifestyle, even the way you spend your retirement. They never appreciate your efforts, and instead, they make you feel like you're constantly falling short. Instead of supporting you, they pick apart everything you do, making you question yourself even when you've lived a full life and gained wisdom through experience. Take the story of Mr. Johnson, a 74-year-old man who had spent his whole life working hard to provide for his family. But his son, now an adult, never seemed satisfied. He criticized his father's financial decisions, his way of dressing, even the way he spent his free time. "Dad, you should have invested better," he'd say. "You don't exercise enough. Why do you still live in this old house?" The criticisms never stopped, making Mr. Johnson feel like he had failed, despite everything he had done for his family. One day, after years of listening to this, Mr. Johnson finally stood up for himself. He calmly told his son, "I've lived long enough to know that perfection doesn't exist. I've done my best, and that's enough for me. If you can't respect that, I won't waste my remaining years listening to constant judgment." That moment changed everything. He realized he didn't need to prove himself to anyone, not even his own family. At this stage in life, you've already walked your path. You've made mistakes, learned lessons, and gathered wisdom that younger people have yet to understand. You don't owe anyone an explanation for how you live your life, and you certainly don't have to endure endless criticism. Your peace is more valuable than their opinions. It's time to distance yourself from those who only tear you down and surround yourself with those who uplift and respect you instead. Toxic person number 2, the emotional manipulator. Some people don't need to yell or criticize to control you. They use guilt and emotional blackmail instead. The emotional manipulator always plays the victim, making you feel responsible for their happiness. They act as if their life is falling apart, and only you can fix it. No matter how much you give, it's never enough. And if you try to set boundaries, they make you feel like a bad person. Take the story of Margaret, a 78-year-old grandmother who spent years sacrificing her own well-being for an ungrateful relative. Her niece, a grown woman with a job and her own life, constantly called Margaret whenever she needed money, emotional support, or favors. "You're the only one I have," she would say. "If you don't help me, I don't know what I'll do." Each time Margaret would give in, draining her savings, exhausting herself emotionally, and neglecting her own health. But no matter how much she gave, her niece never truly appreciated it. Instead, she always wanted more. One day, Margaret realized something. This wasn't love. It was manipulation. She had spent years trying to please someone who only saw her as a resource, not as a person. So she made the hardest but most freeing decision. She said no. She stopped taking the guilt trips and refused to let her emotions be used as a weapon against her. It wasn't easy at first, but over time, she felt lighter, freer. She finally had peace. Here's the truth. You are not responsible for fixing everyone's problems. It's not your job to carry the weight of someone else's life, especially when they refuse to take responsibility for themselves. You have the right to enjoy your years without guilt. If someone only values you when they need something, it's time to step back. Your peace is more important than their manipulation. Toxic person number 3, the selfish taker. Some people don't care about you. They only care about what you can do for them. The selfish taker is the person who only comes around when they need money, favors, or help. But the moment you need support, they vanish. They act friendly when they want something, but when you're struggling, they're nowhere to be found. If a relationship only works when you're the one giving, it's not a real relationship. It's exploitation. Take the story of Mr. Harris, an 82-year-old father who spent his whole life helping his son financially. Every time his son had money troubles, he ran straight to Mr. Harris, asking for loans, paying off debts, or even requesting money for luxuries. "Dad, I just need a little help," he would say. "I promise I'll pay you back." But the payback never came. Despite giving away a large portion of his retirement savings, Mr. Harris didn't mind, because he thought his son would always be there for him. But when Mr. Harris's health started declining, and he needed help with everyday tasks, his son was suddenly too busy. Calls were ignored, visits became rare, and when Mr. Harris finally asked for some support, his son coldly said, "Dad, I have my own life to handle." That was the moment he realized the painful truth. He had given everything to someone who only took and never gave back. A real relationship is mutual, not one-sided. If someone only values you when they need something but disappears when you need them, they are not worth your energy. At this stage in life, you deserve relationships built on love, respect, and care, not obligation or guilt. Don't waste your time on people who only see you as a resource. Save your kindness for those who truly appreciate you. Toxic person number 4, the negative energy magnet. Some people bring nothing but doom and gloom into your life. They complain about everything, find problems in every solution, and drain your mood just by being around. No matter how good the day is, they'll find a way to turn it into something negative. And over time, their negativity becomes your negativity, weighing you down like a heavy cloud. Take the story of Eleanor, a 76-year-old woman who had been friends with Martha for decades. At first, she thought Martha was just a little pessimistic. But as the years went by, Eleanor started noticing a pattern. Every conversation was filled with complaints. The world is getting worse. Young people have no respect. My life is just one problem after another. There was never a single positive thing to talk about. Even when Eleanor shared good news, Martha found a way to bring it down. One day, Eleanor left a coffee meetup feeling exhausted, drained, and oddly depressed, even though nothing had happened in her own life to make her feel that way. That's when she had a realization. It wasn't her life making her feel this way. It was Martha's negativity pulling her down. From that moment on, Eleanor started distancing herself, choosing to spend more time with people who lifted her up rather than dragged her down. Here's the truth. Energy is contagious. If you surround yourself with people who constantly complain, you'll start feeling the same way. But if you surround yourself with those who bring joy, encouragement, and positivity, you'll notice a shift in your own mindset and happiness. At this stage in life, you deserve peace, laughter, and meaningful conversations. Don't waste your precious time on negativity. Choose people who make you feel alive. Toxic person number 5, the controlling relative. Some family members never stop treating you like a child no matter how old you get. The controlling relative believes they always know what's best for you and tries to dictate how you should live, what to do, where to go, even who to spend time with. Instead of respecting your choices, they question and criticize them, making you feel like you're incapable of making decisions for yourself. Take the story of Robert, a 74-year-old man who spent years under the control of his older sister, Linda. Since childhood, Linda had always been the bossy one, but Robert assumed that dynamic would change as they got older. It didn't. She constantly meddled in his affairs, criticizing his spending habits, telling him what he should eat, even insisting he move in with her so she could take care of him. Every time Robert tried to make a decision for himself, Linda would guilt him by saying, "I'm just looking out for you." For years, Robert felt suffocated, trapped in a life that wasn't truly his. But one day, after missing out on a travel opportunity because Linda disapproved, he finally had enough. He realized something important. He was a grown man, fully capable of making his own choices. So, for the first time, he set firm boundaries. He stopped explaining himself, stopped seeking Linda's approval, and finally started living life on his terms. The truth is, no one else gets to decide how you live. Only you do. You've spent decades making choices, learning lessons, and building a life. You don't need permission to live it the way you want. At this stage, your happiness should come first. If someone tries to control you, remember, it's your life, not theirs. Break free, stand your ground, and live the way you choose. Toxic person number 6, the fake well-wisher. Not all toxic people are obvious. Some smile to your face while secretly undermining you. The fake well-wisher is the person who acts friendly and supportive, but deep down, they envy you. They pretend to be happy for you, but the moment you turn your back, they spread gossip, stir family drama, and create unnecessary conflict. Instead of celebrating your happiness, they look for ways to bring you down, but in a way that's hard to call out. Take the story of George and Margaret, an elderly couple in their late 70s. They had a longtime friend named Alice, who always seemed warm and kind. She praised their successes, asked about their lives, and offered friendly advice. But over time, strange things started happening. Family members grew distant, misunderstandings popped up, and small disagreements turned into full-blown conflicts. Eventually, they found out why. Alice had been spreading twisted versions of their conversations, fueling negativity behind their backs. One day, Margaret overheard Alice telling another friend, "Oh, I feel so bad for George and Margaret. They act happy, but I know they struggle. And their children barely visit. I hope they're okay." It was said with fake concern, but Margaret knew the truth. Alice enjoyed painting them as pitiful rather than strong. That was the moment they decided to cut ties and protect their peace. Here's the hard truth. Not everyone who smiles at you wants the best for you. Some people thrive on gossip, jealousy, and hidden negativity. At this stage in life, you don't need fake friendships. You need genuine connections. If someone constantly brings drama, manipulates conversations, or secretly competes with you, it's time to let them go. Surround yourself with people who truly wish you well, not those who pretend to. Conclusion. As you grow older, your peace, happiness, and well-being should be your top priority. Life is too short to waste on toxic people who drain your energy, bring negativity, or take advantage of your kindness. It's never too late to set boundaries and choose the people who truly deserve a place in your life. Now, I want to hear from you. If you've ever dealt with a toxic person, comment 9 below. But if you've been lucky enough to have a peaceful, drama-free life, comment 0. Let's see how many of us relate. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear this. Take care, and see you in the next video.